Loyalty is one of the most beautiful qualities a person can offer, but too often we misunderstand where it actually starts. Loyalty isn't about sacrificing yourself for others. It isn't about losing your voice to please the world. Loyalty begins with self-respect. If you cannot stand firmly in who you are, you will find yourself bending to meet everyone else's expectations, and that isn't loyalty, that's fear. The way we treat ourselves sets the tone for how the world treats us. When you respect your own boundaries, your own dreams, your own values, you silently teach others to do the same. You show them that loyalty is not submission. Loyalty is strength. You cannot be truly loyal to another person if you've abandoned yourself in the process. Because the moment you sacrifice your self-respect to keep someone else happy, you're no longer being loyal. You're betraying the one person who will always be with you, yourself. And that betrayal leaves a scar much deeper than the loss of any relationship ever could. Real loyalty is not a transaction. It's not something you give in hopes of getting something back. It's a reflection of your character, your integrity, your sense of worth. When you are loyal to your principles, when you refuse to negotiate your dignity for approval, people around you feel it. They trust it. They are drawn to it. You want to inspire loyalty in others? Start by being fiercely loyal to your own heart. Protect your dreams. Honor your voice. Fight for your values, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable. That's the kind of loyalty that builds unshakable bonds, not the kind that fades when circumstances change. There is a huge difference between loyalty and slavery. Loyalty with self-respect is leadership. It says, I choose you, but never at the cost of losing me. Loyalty without self-respect is slavery. It demands that you silence yourself, shrink yourself, erase yourself. That is not noble. That is not courageous. That is self-destruction disguised as virtue. When you live with self-respect, you don't have to chase loyalty from others. You attract it. Because people are naturally drawn to those who know their worth and refuse to settle for anything less. The kind of loyalty you offer then is pure, powerful, and unbreakable because it was born from within, not bought from outside. So today, before you promise your loyalty to anyone else, promise it first to yourself. Choose to honor your values. Choose to stand tall in your truth. Choose to love yourself enough that your loyalty is never given out of fear, but out of courage. That's where real loyalty begins, and that's where it always belongs. You can't offer loyalty to others if you haven't first committed to yourself. Loyalty is often seen as a virtue that binds people together, something that connects us to our loved ones, our friends, our partners, and even our colleagues. But what many people fail to realize is that loyalty is a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. It isn't just something we give to others. It's something we must first give to ourselves before we can ever offer it authentically to anyone else. When you make the decision to commit to yourself, you are making a profound declaration about your worth. Self-commitment means understanding that your values, your dreams, your passions, and your boundaries are non-negotiable. It means you recognize your own needs and make them a priority, not out of selfishness, but because you understand that only when you are whole and healthy can you truly show up for others. Without self-respect, there's nothing left to give to anyone else. If you do not value yourself, how can you expect others to value you? And more importantly, how can you offer loyalty, a deep, unwavering allegiance to someone else, if you haven't first shown that same allegiance to your own well-being? Commitment to self starts with knowing who you are and owning it. It's about creating a strong foundation in your life, a foundation built on the belief that you matter. Many of us go through life focused on pleasing others, seeking approval, and sacrificing our own happiness to maintain relationships. But that path leads to exhaustion, resentment, and ultimately a loss of self-worth. When you compromise yourself to maintain the loyalty of others, you sacrifice the very essence of what makes you, you. This is not real loyalty. It's a false commitment that is ultimately destructive. In order to offer real loyalty, you must first be loyal to your own heart, to your own purpose, and to your own voice. This means honoring your desires, standing firm in your values, and refusing to abandon yourself for the sake of others. When you put yourself first in this way, you are not being selfish, you are being responsible. You are taking control of your life and making sure you're in the right place mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to give your best to those around you. Only when you are aligned with your true self can you offer genuine loyalty. This loyalty becomes a gift, not a sacrifice. And it strengthens the bonds you share with others. Self-commitment also means recognizing that loyalty is not just about doing things for others or being there when needed. It's about being true to your own beliefs and values, even when it's inconvenient or when others may not understand. True loyalty isn't about sacrificing your happiness or self-respect for the sake of a relationship. It's about standing firm in who you are, regardless of what others may want or expect from you. When you are loyal to yourself, you don't just follow the crowd or give in to pressure. You make choices that align with your integrity. It's about leading with your heart, but also with your mind, knowing that you are worth the loyalty you give to others. When you commit to yourself, you start to attract the kind of loyalty that is healthy, supportive, and enduring. People who see that you have strong self-respect are drawn to you because they recognize your authenticity. They understand that when you offer loyalty, it is not because you are trying to please them or meet their expectations. It's because you genuinely want to be there, you genuinely care, and you genuinely choose to support them without compromising who you are in the process. Moreover, commitment to yourself builds the strength and clarity needed to navigate life's challenges. You can face hardships with resilience because you know who you are and you trust your own judgment. You don't second-guess your worth or your decisions because you have a deep inner conviction that you are deserving of love, respect, and loyalty. When you are loyal to yourself, you don't bend or break under external pressure. You hold your ground because you understand that loyalty starts from within. To truly offer loyalty to others, it's imperative that you first commit to your own journey. This is not a process of self-centeredness, but one of self-respect. When you are grounded in who you are and stand firmly in your own integrity, the loyalty you offer is pure, genuine, and lasting. It strengthens relationships, empowers you to create meaningful connections, and ultimately enriches the lives of those you care about. Loyalty is not just a gift, it's a reflection of the commitment you have made to yourself. When you honor that commitment, you can honor others in ways that are authentic, powerful, and transformative. Self-respect sets the standard for how we allow others to treat us. It is the invisible line we draw that defines how we expect to be treated, not just by others, but also by ourselves. Our ability to respect ourselves directly influences how we allow others to engage with us, how we let them speak to us, and what behaviors we tolerate. When we hold ourselves in high regard, we naturally create boundaries that communicate to the world what is acceptable and what is not. Without self-respect, we lack the clarity and strength needed to set these boundaries, and as a result, we may find ourselves in situations where we are treated poorly, or worse, disrespected. At its core, self-respect is about recognizing your own worth and acknowledging that you are deserving of kindness, understanding, and fairness. It's about seeing yourself as worthy of love, of honor, and of consideration. When you have a deep sense of self-respect, you understand that you don't have to prove your value to anyone. You inherently know that your presence matters, that your voice matters, and that your feelings matter. This understanding shapes the way you interact with others and the way you allow them to interact with you. When you respect yourself, you don't settle for relationships that drain you or situations that diminish your spirit. You don't allow toxic behavior to go unchecked, nor do you stay silent when you're treated unfairly. Self-respect means you speak up for yourself even when it's uncomfortable. It means you protect your emotional, mental, and physical well-being at all costs. You value your time, your energy, and your peace of mind, and you refuse to give those things away to people who do not deserve them. The way others treat us is often a reflection of how we view ourselves. If we don't believe that we are worthy of respect, we may find ourselves in relationships or environments where we are overlooked, belittled, or ignored. But when we have a strong sense of self-respect, we attract others who also respect us. People sense the energy we project, and they either meet us at the level of our self-respect or they withdraw. When we show up in the world with a healthy sense of self-regard, others are less likely to mistreat us because they recognize that we won't tolerate it. Setting a standard for how others treat us is not about controlling others or expecting perfection. It's about being clear with ourselves about what we will and won't accept. When we respect ourselves, we send a message to others that we value our boundaries. We teach them how to treat us by the way we treat ourselves. If we are constantly putting ourselves last, ignoring our needs, and allowing others to take advantage of our time or emotions, we are signaling to others that it's okay to do the same. But when we stand firm in our self-respect, we make it clear that we are worthy of mutual respect and consideration. Self-respect also empowers us to let go of toxic relationships and situations that undermine our well-being. It gives us the courage to walk away from people who drain us, manipulate us, or make us feel small. We no longer need to tolerate disrespect for the sake of preserving a relationship or avoiding confrontation. Self-respect means we recognize that our peace of mind is far more important than holding on to people who do not add value to our lives. We understand that true relationships are built on mutual respect, and that if someone is unwilling to treat us with kindness and honor, we are better off moving on. Moreover, self-respect is a catalyst for personal growth and empowerment. When we respect ourselves, we stop apologizing for our existence. As we stop questioning our worth and start taking bold steps to become the best version of ourselves. We are no longer waiting for external validation to feel good about who we are. Instead, we cultivate a sense of self-assurance that guides our decisions and our interactions. This confidence attracts people who value us for who we are, and it strengthens our ability to stand up for ourselves when needed. In the end, how we allow others to treat us is a direct reflection of how we treat ourselves. Self-respect is not about arrogance or self-centeredness. It's about understanding that we are worthy of love, respect, and dignity. When we carry this understanding with us, we automatically set a standard for how we expect to be treated. We don't settle for less, and we don't allow ourselves to be diminished. Instead, we demand that others meet us at the level of our own self-respect, and in doing so, we create a life filled with honor, healthy boundaries, and deep, meaningful connections. Loyalty is a reflection, not a transaction. This idea may seem counterintuitive in a world where relationships, whether personal or professional, are often viewed as exchanges. We are conditioned to think of loyalty as something we give in return for something we receive. But true loyalty doesn't operate like a transaction. It's not about keeping score or negotiating terms. It's about who we are at our core and how we show up for others because of that. Loyalty is a reflection of our values, our integrity, and our commitment to the people and causes we believe in. It's not something that should be earned or bartered for. It's something that flows naturally from a place of trust and respect. When we offer loyalty to others, we are showing them that we are aligned with our own principles, and we are committed to them, not because of what we might get in return, but because it reflects who we are and what we stand for. This kind of loyalty doesn't come with conditions. It's not based on the actions or behaviors of others, nor is it contingent upon receiving something back. True loyalty is steadfast and unwavering, or it doesn't fluctuate with circumstances or change depending on how others behave. It's not a bargaining chip we use to get what we want, nor is it something we withhold when things get difficult. It's a constant, unshakable quality that comes from within. It's about being loyal because loyalty is part of your character, not because you are hoping to gain something from it. When loyalty is a reflection, it is rooted in self-respect. We are loyal to others because we respect ourselves and believe that loyalty is a core part of being a decent and honorable person. It's an expression of our character, not a transaction to be weighed and measured. We offer loyalty to those who demonstrate trustworthiness, but even if they falter, we remain loyal because our loyalty isn't based on their actions. It is a reflection of who we are. In this sense, loyalty becomes a mirror that reflects our inner strength, our ability to forgive, and our willingness to stand by others, even when they make mistakes. Transactional loyalty, on the other hand, is about exchanging favors. It's a you do this for me and I'll do this for you mindset. It's contingent upon others behaving in a way that satisfies our needs or expectations. Transactional loyalty comes with a price tag, and it can be easily revoked when it no longer serves us. This type of loyalty is fragile because it's based on what we get in return. It's not sustainable in the long term, and it doesn't build deep, meaningful connections. It's a surface-level interaction that lacks the depth and authenticity that real loyalty brings. Loyalty that is based on reflection, however, creates a bond that is grounded in trust and mutual respect. It doesn't depend on what we receive, but rather on what we give. It creates a foundation for relationships that go beyond convenience or self-interest. When we offer this kind of loyalty, we are not expecting anything in return, and that allows us to be genuine in our actions. Our loyalty is free of conditions, and because of this, it has the power to transform relationships. It builds a sense of security and assurance because both parties know that they can rely on each other, not because of what they might gain, but because of the commitment to each other's well-being. True loyalty requires vulnerability. It's not about protection or armor. It's about standing by someone even when it's difficult, even when they may not deserve it. It's about being there for others in their times of need, not because we are seeking something in return, but because that is what loyalty requires of us. It's about showing up and giving of ourselves freely, knowing that loyalty is not something that can be bought or sold. It's not a currency to be exchanged, but a gift to be freely given. When loyalty is a reflection of who we are, we inspire others to be loyal as well. Our actions speak louder than words. And the way we show up for others influences how they show up for us. Sacrificing your self-respect to be loyal to someone else is not loyalty, it's abandonment. This might sound harsh, but the truth is that when we abandon our sense of self to please or stay loyal to another person, we lose a fundamental part of who we are. Loyalty should never come at the cost of self-worth or dignity. True loyalty is built on mutual respect where both parties honor each other's values, needs, and boundaries. Might I say, when we sacrifice ourselves for the sake of loyalty, we are not showing true allegiance. We are diminishing our own value and compromising our well-being in the process. At the core of every healthy relationship is the understanding that loyalty is a choice, not a requirement. It is given freely based on respect, love, and mutual trust. However, when loyalty becomes a one-sided affair, it turns into a dangerous dynamic. We start to believe that we must always put the other person's needs ahead of our own, that we must bend and adjust ourselves to accommodate them, even when it hurts. This is where the line between loyalty and self-abandonment becomes blurred. We tell ourselves that we are being loyal, that we are doing the right thing. But in reality, we are allowing ourselves to be neglected, overlooked, or even mistreated. When we abandon ourselves for the sake of someone else's happiness or well-being, we lose our sense of identity. We begin to place their needs, desires, and expectations above our own, often at the expense of our mental, emotional, and physical health. Loyalty becomes a means of self-sacrifice rather than a reflection of our values and commitment. We may start to believe that our worth is tied to how much we are willing to give up or endure for others. This mindset can be toxic because it places our self-respect and dignity in the hands of others. It suggests that we are not worthy of loyalty unless we prove it by sacrificing ourselves. But this is not true loyalty. It's self-neglect disguised as devotion. The problem with sacrificing your self-respect for loyalty is that it creates a dangerous imbalance in the relationship. While you may think that you're being loyal, what you're really doing is enabling a pattern of behavior where your needs and feelings are ignored. You may allow someone to take advantage of your generosity, kindness, or patience because you are too focused on keeping the peace or fulfilling your sense of duty. But by doing this, you are teaching others that it's okay to take from you without giving back. You are setting a precedent where your own well-being is secondary to theirs. This creates a toxic cycle where you constantly give but never receive the respect or consideration you deserve. True loyalty should always come from a place of self-respect, not self-sacrifice. When you value yourself, you understand that loyalty should be reciprocal, that it should be built on a foundation of respect, trust, and mutual care. You do not need to abandon your principles, your values, or your personal boundaries in order to prove your loyalty. In fact, the opposite is true. The more you respect yourself, the more you will be able to show up for others in a healthy, sustainable way. You will be able to offer your loyalty without fear of losing yourself in the process. Sacrificing your self-respect for the sake of someone else's happiness can lead to resentment. Over time, you may start to feel unappreciated, undervalued, or even angry because you have given so much without receiving the same level of care or respect in return. This resentment can erode the very foundation of the relationship, creating distance and disconnection. The more you abandon yourself, the more likely you are to feel disconnected from your own needs and desires, which can lead to a deep sense of dissatisfaction and unhappiness. Eventually, you may begin to question whether your loyalty was ever truly valued or whether you were simply being taken for granted. Loyalty should never come at the cost of your self-respect. If you find yourself in a situation where you are constantly sacrificing who you are to maintain a relationship or to please someone else, it's time to reassess what true loyalty means to you. Self-respect is the foundation of all healthy relationships. When you honor yourself, you send a clear message to others that you will not tolerate mistreatment, that your needs and feelings are just as important as theirs. You show them that true loyalty is about mutual respect, where both people give and receive equally without compromising their self-worth. In the end, loyalty is not about sacrificing your identity or your values for the sake of others. It's about standing firm in who you are while remaining committed to those you care about. It's about offering your loyalty freely without fear of losing yourself in the process. Sacrificing your self-respect is not loyalty, it's abandonment. True loyalty is about showing up for others in a way that aligns with your values and strengthens your sense of self, not diminishes it. When you can maintain your self-respect and still be loyal to others, you will create relationships that are not only stronger, but also healthier and more fulfilling. People trust and follow those who are loyal to their own principles first. In a world filled with shifting values, trends, and expectations, people yearn for consistency and authenticity. Now, When someone remains steadfast to their principles, regardless of the external pressures or temptations to conform, it creates a sense of security and respect. Loyalty to one's own values is a powerful signal that conveys integrity, authenticity, and a sense of direction. It's a trait that naturally attracts people as they recognize and resonate with the honesty and clarity that comes with staying true to one's own beliefs. Loyalty to personal principles is not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about having a clear understanding of who you are and what you stand for. It's about knowing your values, your purpose, and your boundaries, and staying grounded in them despite the external noise. This kind of loyalty shows others that you have a strong sense of self, and it allows you to lead with confidence. When people see that you act in alignment with your principles, they feel a sense of trust because they know that you won't change to fit someone else's expectations. They know where you stand, and they can rely on you to be consistent in your actions, regardless of the circumstances. In contrast, when someone is willing to bend their principles to gain approval or success, it sends the opposite message. It creates a sense of uncertainty and instability. People don't know what to expect from them because their actions are driven by external validation rather than internal conviction. They may achieve short-term success or acceptance, but this kind of behavior often erodes trust over time. People want to follow those who are clear about their intentions and are not swayed by every passing opinion or circumstances. Leaders, friends, partners, and colleagues who stay true to their principles create an environment where others feel secure in their relationship with them. Staying loyal to one's principles also demonstrates a level of personal strength and resilience. It takes courage to maintain your values when the world around you is constantly changing, or when it seems easier to follow the crowd. It requires a deep level of self-awareness and commitment to your own beliefs, even when it's not the popular choice. People respect this strength, and in turn, they feel inspired to follow your lead. They want to be around those who are unwavering in their convictions, because it gives them the courage to do the same. There's an unspoken power in being true to yourself, and this authenticity attracts those who value integrity. Moreover, loyalty to one's principles fosters a sense of purpose and clarity. When you are aligned with your values, you move through life with a sense of direction. You make decisions with confidence, knowing that they are rooted in your core beliefs. This clarity allows others to understand your actions and intentions, making it easier for them to trust and follow you. People are drawn to those who seem to have a clear sense of purpose because it gives them something to believe in and follow. They trust that your decisions are not based on whims or external pressures, but on a well-considered set of principles. Loyalty to your principles also cultivates a sense of authenticity that others can't help but admire. In a world where many people are trying to fit into molds or live up to others' expectations, authenticity is a rare and valued quality. When you stay true to who you are and what you believe in, you stand out in a crowd. Your integrity becomes magnetic, drawing people who appreciate that same authenticity. They want to be around someone who doesn't pretend to be someone they're not, who doesn't change their values to gain favor, and who can be counted on to act with integrity in all situations. Ultimately, loyalty to your own principles creates a foundation for strong, trusting relationships. It's the bedrock upon which meaningful connections are built. People trust those who are authentic and consistent because they know what they're getting. They know that when you make a commitment, you will follow through. They know that when challenges arise, you will act with integrity and stay true to your beliefs. This trust is what makes people want to follow you, whether in a personal relationship, a professional setting, or a leadership role. In the end, the people who are loyal to their own principles create an environment of stability, trust, and respect. Their actions speak louder than words, and their consistency in living according to their values is what draws others to them. People follow those who are clear, confident, and authentic in their convictions because these qualities inspire trust and loyalty in return. The strength to remain loyal to your principles not only builds trust with others, but it also reinforces your own sense of self, creating a life of purpose, integrity, and genuine connection. Loyalty without self-respect is slavery. Loyalty with self-respect is leadership. The difference between these two concepts lies in the ability to maintain a sense of self-worth, dignity, and boundaries while being committed to something or someone. Loyalty, in its purest form, should not require the sacrifice of one's core values, beliefs, or self-regard. When loyalty leads us to abandon ourselves for the sake of another, it becomes an act of servitude rather than a choice rooted in mutual respect. True loyalty is not about surrendering our autonomy. It is about aligning ourselves with something that resonates with our values while maintaining the strength to preserve our personal integrity. When loyalty becomes a one-sided affair, where we continuously give without regard for our own needs or boundaries, it shifts from a voluntary commitment to a form of bondage. In this scenario, we may feel compelled to act in ways that go against our instincts or personal principles, all in the name of loyalty. We may tolerate behavior that diminishes our self-esteem or allows us to be mistreated because we are fixated on the idea that loyalty demands such sacrifices. Over time, this type of loyalty erodes our sense of self-worth as we begin to lose sight of who we are and what we stand for. Instead of being seen as a valuable partner, friend, or ally, we become nothing more than an instrument for the other person's benefit, with no regard for our own well-being. This kind of loyalty is slavery because it traps us in a cycle of self-neglect. It relies on the premise that we are only valuable in relation to what we can give or how we can serve others. We may feel like we have to constantly prove our worth by subordinating ourselves to the needs or desires of someone else. Our own needs, desires, and boundaries are pushed aside, and in the process, we lose touch with our true selves. When loyalty becomes a tool for manipulation or exploitation, we are no longer in control of our own lives. We are merely following the demands of others, sacrificing our self-respect for the sake of maintaining the relationship or keeping the peace. In contrast, loyalty with self-respect is leadership. This kind of loyalty comes from a place of inner strength, where we honor our values and principles while remaining committed to those we care about. It means being loyal without compromising our personal boundaries or dignity. Loyalty in this sense is an empowering choice rather than a burdensome obligation. We are not bound by a sense of duty or fear of rejection. We are guided by a deep sense of integrity that allows us to make decisions based on mutual respect and shared values. Leadership is rooted in the ability to stay true to oneself while guiding others. When we maintain our self-respect in the face of loyalty, we set a standard for others to follow. People are drawn to leaders who know who they are, who stand firm in their beliefs, and who make decisions that reflect their values. A leader who is loyal to their own principles inspires others to do the same. Their loyalty is not about pleasing everyone or sacrificing their identity for the sake of being authentic, transparent, and committed to doing what is right, even when it is difficult. Loyalty with self-respect means we are not afraid to set boundaries, speak our truth, and make decisions that honor both our needs and the needs of others. It means we understand that we can be loyal without losing ourselves in the process. True loyalty is not about becoming subservient or giving up our identity for someone else. It is about building relationships based on mutual respect where both parties honor and value one another's individuality and autonomy. When we lead with self-respect, we attract people who share our values, who understand that loyalty is a two-way street, and who are willing to offer the same level of commitment and respect in return. Loyalty with self-respect also empowers us to recognize when a relationship, situation, or commitment is no longer serving us in a healthy way. It gives us the clarity to walk away when we are being treated in ways that undermine our dignity or self-worth. We understand that we do not have to tolerate mistreatment or manipulation in the name of loyalty. Leadership in this sense means knowing when to say no, when to set limits, and when to protect our emotional, mental, and physical well-being. It means having the courage to prioritize ourselves without feeling guilty for doing so. This is the essence of true leadership, the ability to remain grounded in our values and to inspire others by being authentic and unapologetic in our pursuit of self-respect. Ultimately, loyalty without self-respect leads to a life of sacrifice, self-neglect, and diminished self-worth. It becomes a form of slavery where we are bound by our need to please others or fulfill their expectations at the expense of our own identity. Loyalty with self-respect, on the other hand, is a form of leadership. It empowers us to stay true to ourselves, to stand firm in our beliefs, and to lead by example. This kind of loyalty builds trust, strengthens relationships, and creates an environment where people can be their authentic selves, free from the burden of sacrificing their dignity for the sake of loyalty.